These are some of the ugliest Lego pieces that Lego don't want you to know about. Do you remember the Clone Wars? Well, when this show came out back in the day, Lego actually released a series of sets based on this show. Now, a lot of these sets were actually really good, and the builds of the ships were really detailed as well. And a lot of these sets go for a lot of money now. However, the one problem with these sets was actually the minifigures, because they were too scary for the kids. Because, I mean, look at this minifigure. This is one of the Clone Wars figures from Star Wars, and this looks absolutely horrendous. I mean, look at that face print. It looks absolutely terrible, and it looks like it's going to stare into your soul. But that's not even the worst minifigure out of all of them as well. But this is just one of the bad ones. This is actually a lot better than this minifigure right here. This is Padme from the Clone Wars. And this thing looks absolutely horrible. Padme is supposed to be a pretty beautiful character in Star Wars. However, this just does not look beautiful at all. And especially with that big gap as well between the two eyes, it just makes it look even scarier. Not to mention those really big, beady eyes. But that's not even the worst one. The worst one's Emperor Palpatine. And this looks like it's come straight out of a horror film, if you ask me. But these aren't the only ugly Star Wars products. Back in the day, Lego actually released this Lego Star Wars Technic buildable Stormtrooper. And this isn't necessarily scary like the Clone Wars minifigures, but it is definitely a very ugly model. And honestly, to this day, I'm not sure why Lego even thought of making this. There's too many gaps in this, and it doesn't even resemble a Stormtrooper, if you ask me. However, Lego also did make a few more Star Wars Technic sets. And one of those was C-3PO, which looks a lot better than the Stormtrooper. And they also made one of a battle droid as well from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which looks really good in my opinion. Now, Lego also made a buildable Yoda minifigure back in the day, and this didn't look necessarily that great. It looked quite ugly, especially from the face section there. It was too bricky, and it just didn't look that great. However, a few years later, Lego did actually re-release this set and remake it into this better version of a buildable Yoda. However, if you still ask me, the eyes make this thing look really scary. In fact, this head actually looks worse than the old one. One of the most horrible Lego pieces to look at is this piece right here. Now, this is actually intended to be a Lego rock structure and was used by Lego in various different sets back in the day, such as the Harry Potter line. However, this brick was so ugly that Lego themselves even stopped using it and actually discontinued the piece. These are two vintage Lego minifigures back from 1989. Now, although these minifigures are extremely rare and expensive on the aftermarket at the moment, these things are by far the ugliest Lego pieces I've ever seen. The figure on the right looks pretty scary in my opinion, and it looks something very cursed, and if I had this as a little kid, I would definitely be having nightmares. But it's not even as bad as the one on the left. This zombie minifigure looks absolutely horrible and definitely takes the cake for the ugliest Lego piece that I have ever seen in my entire life. Do you remember Galador? Well, Galador is one of the most ugliest Lego themes today. And this is even uglier than the Ben 10 theme, which was a pretty horrendous theme if you ask me. Now, back when the show came out, Lego thought it would be a good idea to make toys based off that show. And they ended up giving us these buildable characters. And they didn't even look like Lego, they looked like actual action minifigures. However, the problem was these just look so ugly, and Lego just didn't do a good job in executing it at all. So because they were so ugly, Lego had to actually discontinue the theme, which didn't surprise me whatsoever. A few decades ago, Lego had a partnership with Nesquik. So what they did was they made a Lego polybag of the iconic Nesquik bunny. And instead of this being a huge success, this actually flopped due to the fact that it looked absolutely ugly and everybody refused to buy it. The headpiece was enough to freak anybody out with those eyes that were too separated and the weird smile that it had. And also the molded piece looked absolutely creepy when the headpiece wasn't attached to it. So as a result, this thing didn't do too well. However, if you do want to buy this thing on the aftermarket at the moment, it is a very expensive product, which does surprise me quite a lot. Recently, Lego revealed two new Brickheads that will be joining the Sonic theme. First, we have set 40627 Sonic the Hedgehog, and then we have set 40628 Miles Tails Prowler. Now, I was pretty excited for these when we heard the initial rumors. However, now that the fact that we have the official pictures of these two Brickheads, I will say these are probably the most ugliest Brickheads I've ever seen. I think it's just the eyes that do it for me. They just don't look that great at all, and they make these things look very ugly and creepy. And a few special mentions, we actually have these Lego Duplo vintage minifigures that came out back in the day in the 1900s, and these are actually very expensive in the aftermarket, but these look absolutely horrible and are very ugly indeed. Do you like Christmas? Well, of course you do, but Lego also love Christmas as well. The reason why I'm saying this is because Lego have released not only a ton of Lego Christmas sets, but we've also seen a lot of Lego advent calendars, and all of them always include a minifigure with an ugly sweater. First off, we had Star Wars, which started this off in 2010, and have been having advent calendars every year, and they've always included a minifigure with an ugly sweater. And then in 2018, when Lego Harry Potter decided to get the reboot, Lego actually made an advent calendar for that theme, and included Harry and Ron with the ugly Christmas sweaters. And then in 2021, when Lego Marvel got its first advent calendar, we had the Iron Man minifigure with an ugly sweater. And then in 2022, when we got the Guardians of the Galaxy advent calendar, they did include 2 minifigures with an ugly sweater, being Drax and Nebula. And we know for this year, in 2023, we will be seeing a Black Widow and a Spider-Man minifigure with the ugly sweaters on, which is pretty exciting indeed. These are the ugliest Lego products, and if you agree, then make sure to subscribe and like the video and turn on notifications. But with that being said, everyone, peace out, see you later, and bye-bye.